Three, two, one.
This is Chargers Unleashed podcast. Here are your hosts, Dan Wolkenstein and Jake Hefner. Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dan Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. Today's show, of course, being brought to you by UFC Fit and Temecula, Golden Road Brewery, Charger Bolt Family, Tick Pick, and Bet Online. If this is your first time watching the show, trust me, fans, you are in for a treat today. You can, of course, hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and, of course, on Apple and Spotify, wherever you choose to digest your weekly NFL podcast. Dan Wolkenstein, the 2022 NFL Draft is officially in the books, but almost 1 week to the day from a certain individual being picked 17th overall. Couldn't think of a better way to have this show without a special guest. Dan Wolkenstein, please, if you would.
Yes, Jake, number 17 overall in the 2022 NFL Draft. Mr. Zion Johnson has been gracious enough to stop by and talk a little Chargers football. Cannot wait for this discussion. Such a great pick for the Chargers. Bolt fans already ingratiated him with the lightning bolt on draft night. Cannot wait for you guys to hear this episode. Zion Johnson, Chargers Unleashed, coming up next. All right, Bolt fan, your newest Los Angeles Charger, future mauler in the run game, and Justin Herbert protector, number 17 overall in the 2022 NFL Draft. Mr. Zion Johnson has been gracious enough to come on the show and talk a little Chargers football. Zion, welcome to the Chargers. Welcome to LA and the Bolt fam. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, and I'm glad to be here. I'm really excited. I got to go out to LA for a day, my first time in LA. Got to see the stadium, go to the practice facility. I got to see the model of the new one they're actually building, and I'm just excited for everything to come, and can't wait to get out there for rookie minicamp next week.
A little different than Boston, right? You go from like the frigid cold and snow and lobster rolls to like palm trees and the glitz and glamour.
Well, I spent some time at school in North Carolina, and then a lot of my family's from Florida. I know it's a different type of heat. We get the humid heat, and out there it's the sun heat. But I like the sun, and I'm just excited to get out there and have some nice weather for a change.
Oh, I'm sure. Winters in California a little different than winters in New England. Look, Chargers fans are so excited to have you on this team. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. So excited to have you on. We'll go into kind of what Chargers fans should expect to see from Zion Johnson, what it's going to be like to protect Justin Herbert, maybe get into some X's and O's, maybe some first impressions of the team, get to know you a little bit more on and off the field. But let's start with Thursday night. Okay, NFL Draft, night one. Take us into the Johnson family draft celebrations. What were some of the conversations you were having that night while waiting for the pick? How did you celebrate with the family? Who was most excited? What was that day like for you and the family? And what were some of the key takeaways you had?
I mean, it was really exciting. My mom was super excited. She was very emotional and just happy for me. And, because it's been a long journey through, Davidson, my late start, through Boston College. And, she's been with me the whole time. So it was a great moment for her as well as it was for me. I had a lot of people come, like Coach Hafley from BC came and, watched me get drafted. My uncle and my aunt were there as well. And, afterwards, after I did some media and went to the draft party, which was awesome to see the fans and how excited they were. I was able to go back to the hotel, see them, and, they were just all happy and excited. And it was really a cool experience, a once-in-a-lifetime day.
For sure. And I would imagine, seeing that with your mom and being able to kind of, what you guys have gone through and what she sacrificed for you, I can imagine that's kind of bittersweet to kind of see her all of a sudden freak out and have those happy tears of joy. I saw the video of her and the video to you, and it's a special moment, man. And I'm excited for you. It's okay. So I noticed you talked about the Chargers fans. I noticed the huge Bolt chain that you got from the inner circle. Yeah. Do you still have it? What were your first impressions of the Bolt fam? I don't know if you're even familiar with the Bolt fam expression, but we're all family here. What do you think so far?
Well, I didn't know before, but I know now. I know. And I think it's upstairs, like my mom has it. But yeah, so I went out in the crowd to take a picture, and one of the fans just put it on my neck, and I was like, "This is pretty cool," and I just wore it the rest of the day.
Oh, there it is. Love it. So you're now a Charger. Talk to us about some of the conversations you've had so far with some of your teammates, whether it's through text or on the phone. Like, what are some highlights or maybe insights that you've had that maybe have stood out to you as you've kind of gotten acquainted with some of your teammates?
Well, it's been limited. Some of the teammates reached out to me and said, just congratulations, and we're excited to have you. And I pretty much just told them, I'm excited to work with them and for the opportunity. But I'm really excited for in the coming weeks getting to have formal introduction, see them one on one, because it's a little different meeting a person, in person than through text. So.
Were there any like awkward like conversations? Like, for example, last year we talked to Rashawn Slater, and he was mentioning how when he got introduced to Justin Herbert, he ended up calling him, and he's like, "Hey, this is Justin," and Rashawn was like, "Hey, I know who you are." Like, were there any like funny moments where you were like, "I can't believe this is real. Like, this is my life."
So when Justin texted me, like he was like, "Hello, my name is Justin Herbert, the quarterback for the Chargers." Blah, blah. I was like, "Yes, I know who Justin Herbert is." Like, you don't have to give me the full rundown. That was kind of funny, but other than that, that's about it. I was.
I love it.
Zion, just as you mentioned a second ago, as you did on draft night, you were talking about all the sacrifices that your mom has made for you throughout your journey, and obviously now getting to the NFL. And I've read about all the little pieces, being very close to Christian Darris all the time, the bus driver bringing you home from golf practice, but your mom being the main influencer of really pushing you to that next level of going through football. Tell me, just outside of her influence, what are some self-motivating factors for you? What's your why when you step out there on the football field?
I would say it's really changed throughout the years. At first, one of the things I really enjoyed at first about football was just, and I still do today, is just the ability to improve yourself through hard work. Being able to, I struggled a lot at first and I was 225 playing tackle. So to continue to work on my technique and, learn the X's and O's and see myself improve, that was something I liked. Early on, not so much now, but, I had a lot of people that doubted me, being undersized and not having played football a lot. So that really drove me to prove to others, but also to myself that, I could be a good football player and get on the field. But the biggest one I'd say for me now is the camaraderie. The offensive line room at Boston College was really tight. And, we would hang out, we had a close relationship. And that's one of the things about football I love the most.
And you just mentioned it a second ago, the X's and O's. I know it's early. We're almost a week removed from the first night of the draft. Have you gotten a chance to get into the X and O's yet? And then what are the first things that you're expecting to kind of get into when you get to rookie mini camps?
So, no, I haven't gotten the playbook yet. I talked to Coach, and he said, we'll get it to you when you get out here for rookie mini camp. But, I had the opportunity to talk to Coach Nugent about some of the things that, we'll be doing. And I'm just very optimistic. And, I think I'll pick it up pretty quickly. And I'm just excited for the opportunity.
So you got Rashawn Slater, Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, all on this line. And then the Chargers pick Zion Johnson. What's it like coming into a situation with like an offensive line group that already is pretty, not only tight knit, but like pretty skilled? And you got an all-pro rookie, you got Corey Linsley, arguably the best center in football, Matt Filer, and now you. Like, what's that like going into a situation? I feel like it couldn't have been a better situation for you.
Yeah, it's awesome because it's exciting to go in a room, with guys that you can kind of learn from, talk to, and if especially guys like Corey Linsley and Matt Filer who played quite a while and have some things that they can teach you, because throughout my career, I've never been the young guy. When I came into Davidson, they brought in 10 freshman offensive linemen, so it was like I've always been growing with the guys around me. But to be in a room full of guys with experience that you can learn certain things and how they conduct themselves, their routine, I'm very excited for that opportunity.
Preview. I know you're going to be talking to Rashawn Slater a ton. You guys are probably going to be best friends by the end of this. He just came in a year prior to you. If there was one question that you're looking forward to asking him, because he kind of went through this 1 year prior to you as an offensive lineman, like what's the one question that you would ask him specifically as to like how he did, or what would you ask for advice from him?
I'd probably ask him about his routine, like how he approaches each day. What are things that he makes sure he does every day? What, like those certain things, because to play as well as he did, he must be doing something right in terms of his routine. So.
Yep. All right, you talked about the coaching staff a little bit. You mentioned, I believe it was Coach Staley that you had talked about. What are kind of your first impressions of the coaching staff, whether it's Nugent, Staley? How does it kind of compare or contrast what you had at Boston College?
I really like Coach Staley from, the bit I've talked to him. He kind of reminds me of Coach Hafley a bit because, just like when he speaks to you, when he talks, I mean, it's like, it encaptures you. You listen, and I really like the vision he has for the team. And he from the bit I've talked to him, he sounds like a guy that you just want to follow. And then talking with Coach Nugent, I talked about some of the things he believes in terms of technique and how he works with offensive linemen, and I'm just very excited to learn some things from him. And I think I'm in a great situation with those two guys. So.
Now, Zion, I know everything's kind of fluid right now because it's still kind of undetermined what the Chargers' offensive line is fully going to look like by the time that we hit September, whether they're going to have you on the left side, the right side. I know everything that Coach Staley has said thus far is that he is penciling you on the right. Is there anybody, when you look at it in the offensive line, that you're really excited to play alongside? Or maybe even against? I know you and your new teammate Otito had a little bit of a rivalry come Senior Bowl week, so you're looking to kind of renew that a little bit.
I would say I'm excited to play next to Corey Linsley, really all those guys, but with him and the experience he has, and I actually trained with Josh Sitton throughout this whole process, and he's talked about him, when he was earlier in his career and how he works and those sort of things. To play next to him, I think will help me elevate myself as well as a player. And then on the defensive side, even though they're ends, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, iron sharpens iron, to go against guys like that will only make you better. So
that was perfect. That was actually going to be my next question, because when you talk about veteran guys like that, as you mentioned, iron sharpens iron, for any young player to come in and train with these guys, learn from them, even from an offensive lineman standpoint, to better your craft. What's kind of the things that have you gotten a chance to even dissect their game a little bit to say, like, okay, this is how I can get better? Have they kind of alluded anything to you as far as, hey, this is what we're going to put you through?
Not really. I haven't had much contact with them. Of course, like, I watch football, so I know some of the things that they do in terms of, like, some of their go-to pass rush moves and that sort of thing. I played tackle a year, so I have brief experience of watching some of those guys, but more so, I watch more inside guys when it comes to NFL tape. So, that's about it. But I haven't really had any interactions with them yet, but I'm excited to, get better going against, the best of the best.
Let's transition a little bit from the football field. Let's talk about your love for golf for just a second. You're big into golf. What are some traits, lessons that you think that could translate from the fairways to the football field?
I always say this, but golf is a frustrating game. It's a game where you have your good days, you have your bad days. You have your days where everything, hitting just how you want it to, and some days where you just can't hit the ball straight no matter what you do. And that translates to football because it causes you to be consistent and continue to go out and work on your technique, whether you're offensive line or D-line or anywhere in football. It teaches you, consistency, and whether you have, a good day, whether we're talking about pass rush or whatever, or you have a bad day and you make a mistake, as long as you continue to work on these things, you're only going to get better.
We're wrapping up with Zion Johnson here. If you want to ask Jake about how you can get a road rash while playing golf, we got plenty of story time for you. We know how to not hit the ball straight, I'll tell you that much.
Great story to bring up.
You're welcome, Jake. All right, so you're a smart guy. You went to school for cybersecurity. Obviously, football worked out for you just fine. You're in the NFL. You don't need to worry about it for a while. But like, what got you into cybersecurity? And I guess I don't know if anybody's asked you this, but like, what type of career would you see yourself in cybersecurity? Like, if football wasn't there, maybe after football, like what intrigues you about it? What do you see yourself doing with it?
So the reason I chose it is I had finished my undergrad in computer science, and I was really into like web programming and um, just looking at the options I had at the school that most of our grad football guys went to, the Wood School. Cybersecurity seemed like the most interesting option to me, and that's why I chose it, and I don't regret that decision at all. And in terms of career, there's tons of different fields in cybersecurity. You could look at it from the risk management side, which I'm very interested in, or from the like database management or security side. Honestly, for me, like every industry has some sort of cybersecurity role. I think I would just have to figure out what that is, but I wouldn't rule out for myself, continuing to work in the football world as well, just because my love of the game. I could see myself, coaching or talking about football in any way. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities and realities for me in terms of what I could do. But my plan is to play as long as I can, and then figure all that stuff out later.
Yeah, and I think the Chargers are also into risk management, bringing you in to protect the crown jewel, Justin Herbert, bringing everybody in here to help get this team to the next level.
Yes.
Have you had thoughts about like what this team looked like last year? Like, did you watch the Chargers? Like, what was your kind of first impressions of the team when you found out that it was LA calling you?
I mean, I was excited because everybody knows about the firepower the Chargers have on offense, across the board. Starting with that quarterback, Justin Herbert. And, I was just excited, and I thought in my mind, like, there's no better situation I could have, gone into. And I'm just, very thankful and happy for the opportunity. So.
Love it. All right. Two more questions for you, Zion. You went to Boston College. I actually grew up in New England for a bit, younger years. A teammate of yours at BC, Brandon Sebastian, also signed by the Chargers as a undrafted free agent. Has to be pretty special joining up with an NFL team and going with a teammate of yours right out the gate. Like, what can you tell us about Brandon Sebastian? Have you guys talked about it? Like, what could the Chargers see in him either on or off the field?
Yeah, so he texted me after he got the news, and that was very exciting to have a guy that I know, being out there in LA with me, and I would say Brandon is a guy who's improved a lot throughout his time with Coach Hafley, and he's someone who he's going to put the work in, and I'm just excited to have him out there with me, and for him, just as long as he continues to put the work in and learn and develop, the heights he could reach, there's no telling how high he could go.
I always enjoy this because Dan always gives me the harder questions to ask, so I'm actually really excited about this one. But Zion, you mentioned in a recent interview that if you were an Avenger, you'd liken yourself to the Hulk. Mm-hmm. So I have to ask, big MCU fans between Dan and I, mm-hmm. What's your favorite Avengers movie? Have you been following up on Moon Knight? And then finally, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness comes out this weekend. Have you gotten your tickets yet?
Oh, yeah, I got my ticket for Friday. Yeah. Yeah, I got my ticket.
Same here. Yes.
Keeping up on Moon Knight, I haven't finished it yet. I haven't, caught up. I'm still 3 episodes in. But I will get to it. I'll get around to it. And my favorite MCU movie would probably have to be Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yes. Yeah. You're speaking Jake's language.
Love it. Yeah. Love it.
So Zion, fun fact, until a year and a half ago, I hadn't seen probably 2/3 of the MCU, and Jake was a huge Avengers fan. And since then, I have watched every one of them in order, chronologically. Honestly, I think I'm at the exact same point as you. I'm now 3 episodes into Moon Knight, and I'm kind of hooked. I could watch all of them a million times now.
Yeah.
All right, last hard question. Favorite food?
Salmon. like it's probably boring. I like it like glazed, like with some type of sauce on it, but it's literally like a food I could eat for every meal. Like, and I won't get tired of it. I could eat salmon every night.
Okay. Well, now that you're in the West Coast, you got poke. You can get salmon 18 different ways. So I think you're not going to go starving.
Nice.
Zion, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. This has been a blast. Hope you had some fun, listeners and viewers. Zion, we can't wait to see you ball out at training camp and during the regular season. We'll be out there watching you during the games. Thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy this process, and we'll see you at training camp, all right?
Thank you for having me, and you all have a good one.
Thanks,
Zion.